Welcome to a brand new episode from Dussehra to Eid. It's a wonderful time in India, a lot of festivities and celebrations. I wish all of you watching a very happy holiday season as well for all of your loved ones. This is the Car and Bike Show. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. Thank you for joining us. We are celebrating, as you know, not just the festive season, but also a huge anniversary and milestone. So over the next few weeks, we'll continue to celebrate the 900 peak for us here at CNB. We'll start today though by talking about a car that I gave you a glimpse of last week. It's the review you've been waiting for and now has added meaning because the Tata Punch now has 5-star safety rating to go with all its other attributes. Here is that review. What an important product for Tata Motors, but even more so for the Indian car market. And that's because in many ways, the Tata Punch opens up a whole new segment. Sure, you can argue that it has ready rivals in the form of the Maruti Suzuki S-Presso, Renault Kwid, Maruti Suzuki Ignis, but it will really take on the likes of the Hyundai Grand i10 and Maruti Swift. Yes, going after that hatchback buyer, and yes, perhaps even the upcoming Citroën C3 and Hyundai Casper too. But if successful, the Tata Punch will spark off a new craze, the micro SUV. The Punch is shaped like an SUV and positioned as one. Yet it is only 3,827 millimeters long and 1,615 millimeters tall. To put that into perspective, that makes it a fair bit bigger than the Kwid and just a few millimeters bigger than the Grand i10 Neos, though the Hyundai has a mere 5mm lead on wheelbase. The cars with us are both top spec with the dual tone roof. The manual is in Meteor Bronze with a black roof, while the AMT is dressed in Tornado Blue with a white roof. That blue and bright red are only reserved for the top trim variants. Shubham, Shams and I are attacking this 3 ways to get you everything. Right, before I get into the design and the styling, let me remind you of the HBX concept. What you're seeing now is the HBX concept that was debuted at the 2020 Auto Expo, and at the time Tata had promised that this car would come looking just like that. I have to say that promise has been met, because really one look at it and you straight away get that sense of muscle and chunkiness that you got from the HBX. It is a good looking car. You also instantly get Nexon, Harrier, Safari from this face, right? It totally belongs in that family, and not just because of the split light. I think it's more than that. But distinct identity for the Punch itself is this plastic panel. I'm not sure I love it, but it is very different. It's also very young and urban and modern. It has these little 3 gaps which kind of go with that whole tri-arrow pattern. You get a lot of the tri-arrow down here in the bumper as well, including here, but overall the bumper feels a little bit plasticky. But you know what? It does that job. It's conveying that sense of ruggedness and upright stance that an SUV must have. So you have that cladding running all the way around. At the back too, it's a nice and broad, and once again, tri-arrow pattern. Very squarish wheel arches and these 16-inch alloy wheels. All of this contributes to that SUV feel. So when you look at the car, I have to say I'm convinced on styling, it hits the SUV mark. It doesn't look just like a cross hatch. That's to Tata's credit, because it's not a very big car, right? It is a small car. It's also kind of short, but it doesn't look like that. And I think that is a very smart design. You also get a few other design elements that sort of add to it. The muscle I was talking about, and all of these squarish lines that you see running through the metal give it that little bit of a boost. I had the chance to speak with Martin Ullrich, Tata's chief designer, who took us around the car in an exclusive walkabout. He said the intent was to convey toughness and SUV character very overtly and make the car appear wider than it is. The 187mm unladen ground clearance and 16-inch wheels, alloys only at the top end, And the tailgate with the car's name in spaced out alphabets definitely enhance that. That way of badging the car is very much the trend these days across manufacturers globally. And yes, I am glad they did not end up calling this one Hornbill. Now, two-tone, that's only on the top end. Nicely done. Overall, I think it looks really smart. And then even smart, intelligent little bits like tucking in the door handle up here. You know, Tata has had experience of doing this now with other cars. It's nicely finished. Overall, it's that comes through. Perceived sense of quality in terms of the shut lines, the paint job, everything looks modern, contemporary, and very well done.
Two things really impress you here. First, the quality of plastics used and different textures and different colors as well on the dash. And then even the fit and finish is quite impressive. Then you come to the 7-inch touchscreen system. It gives you a lot of functionality. It's compatible with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, IRA connected car tech. Sahil will soon tell you more about it. You can also have different color themes here. So they're called Zen, Zing and Zeal. But overall, the size of this screen, it could have looked bigger if a lot of these borders were not there. So this big black border, the chrome border, the black border again, they make the screen look actually smaller than what it is. Then you have a 7-inch instrument cluster, part digital, part analog, gives you information, but maybe could have been a little more modern in the way it looks. And then finally, the surrounds around the AC vents. You get these blue colors here on this Tornado blue color, but that's not the case with most other colors. They get grey surrounds irrespective of the exterior color. A lot of storage options here between the seats, on the doors. Looking at the compact size, that is quite impressive also on the Punch.
The door has spaces earmarked for bottles and even a twice folding umbrella slot. The glove box is cooled in the creative persona. Nicely finished cabin, and remember, our full tech and gadget review for the Punch is on youtube.com/CarAndBike. The Punch is small and zippy, yet manages to establish a presence on the road. Visually, it manages to stand above the likes of the Swift or Grand i10 Neos. The only engine is the 1.2-litre Revertron petrol. This 3-cylinder unit is meant to be frugal, though Tata will tell us claimed mileage figures at launch only. It packs a decent punch though. Gearbox options would read better had there been a 6-speed and a proper automatic. There's lots of things about the Punch that I could straight away start praising, and so before I do that, let me just quickly get over some of the little negatives. No turbo, could have been there at least as an option, maybe a more expensive option, because you know what, in the market a lot of cars have that now, so a little bit more punch would have been a good thing. The 3-cylinder engine, you know what, in this segment I don't have a problem with 3 cylinders, and for the most part it's quite peppy, it's quite punchy, and the only thing is that at higher revs you do start to hear that little bit of that clatter which comes with the territory, and sound damping on the whole is pretty good, but maybe could have been a little bit better. But refinement. I mean, I have to say I'm impressed. I did not expect to be this blown away by a car at this price point, this size. Tata Motors, we said it about design with the Tiago, but I feel like in engineering terms it's really arrived. The car comes across as so mature, so refined, and so sure of itself. Excellent ride quality for this class, great commanding position, and just a very smooth performance from the engine. You don't really feel the need or lack of power. Yes, the initial pickup could have been a little punchier, to keep on using that pun. But the gear shift, I mean, it used to be clunky in Tata cars. The manual, you used to kind of have to fight with it and struggle. Not this one. It's nice and smooth. And not only operationally does it feel good to the hand, also performs well. It's been married really nicely. Good amount of low-end torque. Nice grunt from this little tyke of a car. I really have to say, suspension, steering, ride quality, handling, the Punch does really well. While we wait for that electric, since there isn't a genuine automatic, let me hop into the AMT or automated manual transmission to see what that's like. So there's more than a slight hesitation when it comes to the first to second and second to third gear shifts. Now that's an AMT thing, right? You're going to have that little bit of that tug, little bit of that hesitation and gap, which is annoying. You get used to it, but yes, luckily, you know, third to fourth, fourth to fifth, it's a lot better, it's a lot smoother, and it also holds on to higher gears quite well. There's a good amount of low end torque. So on the whole, you know, the engineers have to try and sort of negate that downside of driving an AMT, and they've done that to a certain extent. But does it give the car a fun to drive feel? No, it takes away from that, if you ask me. I know it's for budget reasons. I would have loved to see a regular torque converter, dare I say even a DCT on this car, but for now, for those who just want that city driving convenience, I suppose the AMT does the job.
Rivals like the KUV 100, Swift, Nios, even the Kwid, well, they all offer AMT. No proper automatics, don't forget. This is not a four-wheel drive, and yet Tata claims some cool credentials for off-roading. And interestingly, Tata has some innovations there.
So Tata Motors claims that the Punch is actually more than a jacked up hatchback and have some SUV creds. And we are here at the off-road location to test exactly that. So it's the same 1.2 litre 3-cylinder engine which we have already seen in the Altroz, but in the Punch it gets the Dyna Pro function, and what it does, that it improves the low end torque. So to take a steep elevation like this, it comes really handy. Now when you are going over a rocky and pebbly terrain like that, it's that when you feel the need of those 16-inch bigger wheels, because they really help. The profile is also adequately tall. In a hatchback, this thing is just out of question, but because you have that creds and a good ground clearance of around 187mm, that also is a big boon.
The approach angle of 20.3 degrees and departure angle of 37.6 degrees have been cleverly planned, as it does give the car more off-road cred. The Punch's 365mm water wading ability is another asset, since comparable price point hatchbacks manage up to 300mm at best. The AMT is claimed to have the same, if not better, off-road capability. It gets a new feature called Traction Pro Mode to help get going on muddy and low traction surfaces. The system helps avoid unwanted wheel spin brought on by the lack of traction. It is further complemented by altitude-adjusted transmission maps. That said, the AMT takes some time and persistence to climb up a steep incline. The manual is more at ease on the rough, since gear control stays with you. Before we get to expected pricing, one more thing to cover: luggage space, which is also a doubt many of you had raised with us.
366 litres is an impressive number when you talk about the boot space, especially in this particular segment. This is also quite deep, so you can fit in quite a lot, but yes, the loading lip is a little high, so you'll have to make some effort to lift up your luggage and put it inside.
But yeah, compare that to the hatches that I mentioned, or even the Mahindra KUV 100, and it's around 100 litres more space in that boot. Okay, so let's end on price expectations. Given that Tata wants to pit this car against the likes of the Swift and Nios rather than the S-Presso or Kwid, expect pricing to start at about 4.5 lakh rupees and top off at about 7.5 lakh ex-showroom. Add in the optional equipment and ideally it should still all stay below 8 lakh rupees. The launch is in under 2 weeks and it's one I am looking forward to.
That is the Tata Punch. Please react to it. Now I've got the Mercedes EQC with me because, well, we're going to do something special with this all-electric over the next few days. Look out for that on my social media handles. With that, let's take a short break. The great thing about this celebration here is we've been getting some wonderful messages from so many people. A look at some of those as we take that break.
Congratulations to Car and Bike Show team for your 900th episode. Thank you for keeping us petrol heads updated with the latest and greatest of the automotive news. I wish you a lot of success in future and wish you sheer driving pleasure and joy in the days to come.
Hi Sid, big congratulations for your 900th episode of your Car and Bike show. All the best, and your show is really very informative. Even I do ask you sometime if I want to buy a new car, I take your suggestion, and I feel really jealous sometimes, just joking, whenever I see you driving your beautiful cars on the beautiful roads. Congratulations for your big achievements. All the best for the future.
Welcome back to CNB. Now our next review on today's show, it is the new Ducati Monster. So much hype, so much buzz around this bike. Preetam has been lucky spending time with it at the track.
The Ducati Monster gets updated in 2021 and it retains that chiseled naked bike appeal. The muscular and sculpted bison back fuel tank, a flat wide handlebar and a roundish headlight which is LED and gets a ring of daytime running lights. The dynamic swiping front indicators are mounted into the sides of the tank. And yes, the trademark steel trellis frame is gone. Instead, it gets an aluminium frame derived from the flagship Panigale V4 superbike. With the engine acting as a structural element, mounting the new swing arm and monoshock. Overall, it's a handsome bike and it does begin to grow on you, particularly in Ducati Red, but is also available in Black Stealth and Aviator Grey. The top spec Monster Plus gets a fly screen above the headlight and a rear seat cowl. The steering diameter has been reduced and the rear subframe is made of glass fiber reinforced polymer, said to be lighter and stronger than before.
If you look at it, the new Monster looks quite compact and nice. It's got that signature muscular design, but when you swing a leg over it, it feels light, it feels slim, and that seat height, I can flat feet both sides very easily. The handlebar is flat and wide, so it offers a very comfortable riding position. But that 937cc Testa Stretta 11-degree L-twin engine gets new pistons, new connecting rods, a lot of new things in the engine. It now gets a clutch which offers a lighter pull on the lever so that you can ride it on a daily basis. It gets a standard up-down quick shifter. Plus it's loaded with electronics. 3 riding modes, fully customizable. And apart from that, you get cornering ABS, cornering traction control, cornering wheelie control, and even launch control. According to Ducati, the new Monster offers entertaining performance for skilled riders, yet it's easy and accessible for new riders. So that's what we intend to find out, how easy it is, and if it has got that entertaining quality that Ducati claims it has.
The new Ducati Monster immediately comes across as a friendly package. The riding position is neutral and comfortable. And the new chassis offers quick direction changes, always keeping the rider in control. Acceleration is brisk and yes, quite entertaining too. Triple-digit speeds are achieved very quickly, and the electronic suite ensures things are always in control. Around the corners of the Budh International Circuit, the Monster comes across as a sharp handling naked. The Pirelli Diablo Rosso 3 tires offer superb grip and complement the agile chassis.
In a word, I think the new Ducati Monster is a sweet bike. It's light, it's nimble, handles beautifully, brakes are great. So if you're a new rider, first big bike, you can certainly consider a new Ducati Monster. Of course, it doesn't get that manic rush of a 150 or 180 bhp or 200 bhp motorcycle, but it's a Ducati after all. So even at 109 bhp, it's got that punchy flavor Ducati motorcycles are identified with. So yes, it's entertaining, it's light, it's nimble, overall all good qualities which make the new Monster quite a likable motorcycle.
The Ducati Monster, you've got to react to that one as well. Warm wishes for a wonderful festive season. I know all of us are climbing out of what's been a really tough year. So from here on, let's hope things just get better and better. Please wear your seatbelts. Please look out for lots from us as a part of this CNB 900 celebration. Thanks for watching.